We're good. Well,
We're live.
all right, Mr. Tony Rice. This is the interview of a lifetime.
Where?
So I wanted to start just kind of a hanging out session, and unfortunately, you're the first person I thought of. That's a joke.
I don't know how to take your jokes now.
And I think that. Hold on one second. I got to turn my volume down on my other apparatus here. Hold on. There we go. All right. Thank you. This is the first show, man. You know how it is, man. You know, I got my wife is my producer, you know, so there's only so much I can yell at my producer about, right?
You won't have dinner tonight if you did.
Huh?
You wouldn't have dinner tonight if you did.
Among other things, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is kind of exciting for me because although you didn't talk to me my freshman year and when we were in school together, this is kind of cool for me because, you know, I mean, I followed you. You're one of my idols. You're one of my very good friends. So this for me is like, I mean, I'm kind of in heaven. So thank you very much, Mr. Rice, for allowing me to interview you.
Hey, Christopher, you don't have to thank me for anything, but you're wrong. I still talked to you your freshman year. You just didn't talk to me because you were about eating all that food. So it was not my fault. Sorry.
You're not even right. You're not even right. All right. So before we get started, I mean, a lot of folks know you as this amazing quarterback who played for Notre Dame, the last Notre Dame national championship quarterback. You know, just share with us some things that people might not know about you, kind of, and in your journey getting to Notre Dame.
Well, starting off, there was a quarterback, and I've been playing quarterback. I started as a freshman in high school, playing quarterback for so many years, and this quarterback from another school ended up going to Minnesota. And Coach Holtz was the coach there in Minnesota at the time. So I never thought I will ever leave the state of South Carolina. I'm from Woodruff, South Carolina. For someone to go to a major college like Notre Dame or anything else like South Carolina or Clemson, that was unheard of in my hometown.
Okay.
Now, they had one guy who went there back in 1956, and then I'm the next guy. But so that tells you a little bit more about, you know, the lay-in time, and people didn't want to leave the state of South Carolina. They didn't want to leave the state of that or the hometown that we grew up in. So when I was looking, I never thought I would leave South Carolina, and it wasn't really my decision. Being from the South, you always listen to your elders. Your elders tell you, you know, when to go use the bathroom too. So you go use it. When I had a chance to just play every sport that was given to me in high school. Basketball, and I ran track as well. My brother played baseball, basketball. He was my teammate in football. So we had a lot of Rices in that area that I was on the team with. And when Coach Holtz came to, or Benny Serrato came to my hometown, to my high school, you know, the women, the ladies fell in love with him. And so they were the gatekeepers. So they knew he was from a major university, but Clemson is in the backyard too. So Danny Ford was the head coach. So he came and he wooed everyone. Never seen me play football live at all. They saw me on film, and he says, could we come to your house to visit your grandmother and my brother and I? And I was like, sure. And the first thing he did, he sat down in my grandmother's chair, my favorite chair, and no one did that in our house. It was a sin to sit in someone that has raised 4 kids, not her own, and provide for you along the way. So we have that much respect for her. So that happened, and I was telling myself, there's no way he's going to get out of this house alive because so sit in the chair, and after he left, she said, "You're going to follow that little man." She didn't really know his name. She just knew he was smaller than me. But for some reason, he just swooped her over, and here you are. You got a person that never left the state of South Carolina going to visit University of Notre Dame, and she said, "I'm going to do that."
Just a visit. What about, was that a magic trick? Did he do a magic trick or something?
Yeah, he did a magic trick. He cut the rope in half and put the rope back together. I'm still trying to understand this to this day. How in the hell was he able to do that? But Coach Holtz, he had a way of talking to people. And, by living that lifestyle, as far as where I'm from, we didn't have that much. But, my grandmother provided what she had to in order to make sure that we survive in this world. And he got down to her level. Now, once I got there, I didn't play my freshman year at Notre Dame. I was under Proposition 48. And that's when I felt like going back home.
Okay.
It got to a point that, that they're not accepting me as a athlete, but my grandmother's still something in me that says, once you start something, you got to finish it. And by her saying that, it's like, I'm giving up on her. I'm giving up on the dream that she wanted me to leave the state and never come back because there was nothing there for me at the time.
Wow.
That's when it goes back to listening to your elders, what they tell you to do, because they're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to point you in the right direction.
Right. But so as 18, how do you accept, was that like a heavy burden for you? Or you're just like, man, I'm 18. I just want to go to college.
Well, again, you had no say so. So you're going to listen to what she said. But I felt like going home. I felt like calling it quits. And it was only going to cost me $127 to get home. And she didn't have it for me to get home. And that's when she said, you start something, you finish it. And that's what brings it back to this. Notre Dame accepted me as a student first, rather than being an athlete. The athlete was the second part of the equation. Before you start something, you got to prove something somewhere else that you can accomplish something in the classroom. And they'll provide all the help you need.
Right.
But don't be afraid to ask for that help. And I was never afraid to ask for help during my freshman year.
So you were in Dillon Hall, right?
I lived in Dillon Hall, Big Red.
Okay. So, pardon me?
Big Red. I didn't live in Soren Hall with the dorm that you lived in, but we lived in the best.
That's okay. Some people were not that privileged. It's okay. It's okay. During your freshman year, you're not playing with the team. Were you able to bond with like the guys on your floor, the guys in your area? Like what was that like?
Not being an athlete, I still end up living with Dean Brown. Dean Brown was my roommate for like 3 years. And
nice.
During that time, he didn't really put a burden on me to rub it in my faces by saying, this is what's going on in practice.
Okay.
He kept that away from me because he knew how much I was going through.
Right.
I wasn't playing. So we just talked about the ordinary thing, what happened in the day's life, the life he lived growing up in Canton, Ohio, and I'm in Woodruff, South Carolina. So we kept that as our little thing going together. Now, the people in the dorm was exceptional. I did some things that other football players were not able to do.
Right.
And that was one of the best days of my life as far as being a student first, because I didn't have to go to a practice and go to the weight room like you guys did. I worked out on my own. I worked out with everyone else. I didn't have to listen to people barking orders at me. I spent a lot of time working with tutors, but then also my football practice was in the quad. I was throwing football every day with people that normal athletes would not be able to communicate with or to have a bond like that.
Right.
And to this day, some of my best friends, you, Pat, TR, Tim Ryan, my friends, some of the guys I still talk to today that lived in my dorm and lived through some of the things I were going through when I had hardship of not playing. So when the tears come at night, those guys were there for me. But Dean Brown was one of the biggest supporters of what was happening to me at that time.
You mentioned Dean Brown. Just give us kind of a little bit about kind of who Dean was and just kind of share with them. And he unfortunately is no longer with us, but just tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Dean was from Canton, Ohio. he called it Ohio OH10. And I didn't quite understand what in the hell he was coming from by OH10. He said, just think about it, Tony. Even though you're from South Carolina, that spells Ohio. So Dean and I had we both was raised without a father. He was raised by his mom. I was raised by my grandmother, but my mom was one of my best friends. So we had a lot of things in common. And some of the things you went through in life is as far as, hey, you don't wear the expensive clothes like the other people, you had hand-me-downs, and we passed our clothes on. So we came off knowing exactly what we went through together. So when Dean got there, and here we are, Dean, big happy, he didn't really play his freshman year, but his sophomore year, he started playing a little bit. And then he became one of the stars on that offensive line that we had for 2 years.
Right.
He was the most humble guy, and he was trying to do things that you don't have patience. When you see a big guy, you think he's very, very mean, but Dean was very polite, and he treated people the way he wanted to be treated. So with that being said, Dean was one of the pioneers as far as the people in my eye that helped me across that bridge. Because when times are hard, when some people give up time in order to help another person, some people run the other way, but he just faced it straight up and just trying to say, hey, Tony, you're gonna make things happen. And I'm glad that I had a chance in order to room with him for 3 years.
That's great. That is great. So share with us, what was your first one-on-one meeting with Holtz like? Do you remember? When you're on campus, this is not, you're not recruited, you're there. And I know you were his golden child, but what was the first meeting y'all had? What was that?
I don't think Coach Holtz knew my name. He kept on calling me Ricky Foggy. That was a couple of years before.
You have to tell that story, man. You have to tell that story.
Oh, so here we are in practice one day. He says, hey, Ricky, come here. I was like, okay, Ricky better answer. Whoever is Ricky, he was pointing at me. So for a full year, my name was Ricky. I never said my name was Tony. I never talked back to anyone, especially the head coach of his team. So when he started calling me that, I started, to think about, well, you came to my house. You came to recruit me. You talked to my grandmother. You told me that you're not going to let anything happen back to your little baby, but you don't even know his name. So here I am for a full year. And then he comes back to me and say, Tony, and I was like, oh God, Tony better answer because my name is Ricky. He knew my name the whole entire time. He just wanted to see how I react. But I'm thinking no, you didn't, Coach. You didn't know my name, but that's okay. You know what? Again, I give it a chance, opportunity, and I owe him a thanks for giving me an opportunity to attend Notre Dame. So, my first reaction of him is wow, this little man still is not bigger than me, but people listen to him. Right.
But that was his way of motivating, right? Calling you out of your name, you're his quarterback, he knew, he had pure drop back passers. He recruited Kent Graham, he had Andresiak there. There were folks that weren't your style of quarterback. And so, I don't know if that was him trying to put you in your place or whatever, but the fact that he called you out of your name for your first year, that was pretty interesting. And he did some crazy stuff to get me motivated too.
Oh yeah. We all have a story. We all have a story to share, to tell.
Right.
And we'll be very lucky because you're looking at over 30-something years ago. Some people are forgetting things. For me, it's I can tell what step at the 45-degree angle running the option to the right-hand side, my right foot, and what my left foot is going to do, what the guard is going to do. I haven't forgotten that yet because that right there is what we grew up on doing. They say that, you would know your college friends more than you know your high school friends because you've been through those trenches with those guys. Like football, you call a play and I have squirrel and I'm right there, want to call a play, want to run that action. And again, after so many years, if you look at it, we're so fortunate enough to have a great coach, but then to have great people along the way, and great people that don't try to be better than you, but they just want to lift you up.
Right. So I'm kind of battling the sun in my eyes, and apparently you either have a plant, which I'm amazed about. It almost looks like camouflage.
Let me move my plant.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr.
My
Rice.
bonsai. It's my bonsai plant.
Wow. And it had a really cool effect though. It looked like you were the Predator. You were like in the Predator movie, like you were camouflaged and stuff.
So you're trying to say I'm dark enough? You're trying to say?
I'm just happy I can see. Apparently the lighting is doing a lot better than I'm almost done with my sunlight though. So talking about Holtz, right? And I have a 5 questions in 5 minutes segment I do on Facebook Live. And somebody asked me, I thought this was a pretty good question. He asked me, what was my favorite motivational speech he had before the game? Okay, that's 1. And 2, throughout your time with him, were there any kind of inspirational nuggets that you want to have taken away? And of course, I thought for me it was Miami, right? He speaks for Miami. And then I talked about kind of his acronym for win, what's important now. So I'm going to ask you the same thing. What was your memorable speech? And if it was Miami, then give me another one. But I just think that, we've heard kind of these Miami stories all the time. And I just wonder if there was another one.
It should be another one. It's when we played against Navy. We went all the way up to Baltimore, and Ricky, as some of the players end up putting stuff on their shoes, and most time people take Navy lightly.
Right.
But Coach, we didn't want to take them lightly, but Coach Holtz thought that we were going to take them lightly because of stuff that Notre Dame doesn't normally do.
Right.
They spat, and there's so many people can spat their shoes, and those people have, and he said those people have special letters in order for them to do that. But that day, he made everyone take everything off, and it just bring us back to where it all started. As far as, listen, we didn't raise you to be that way. Take that stuff off. Do it the Notre Dame way. And I think that really kept everyone together as far as that speech he gave.
Right.
Even though it was not an inspirational speech, it was a speech of, that's not you.
Right.
Take that off.
Right.
So everyone mentioned Miami, and I love the Miami speech.
Mm-hmm.
And what's important now? When? What's important now? And I still use that to this day.
I do the exact same thing.
What is important now? What you do now is everything. What we did in the past is great, and it led up to what we are at now. With that being said, with some of the great things that you take away from him,
right?
The knowledge of whatever you learn on the football field, you're going to carry into the real world. Objections. Who can handle being defeated? No one handles that right.
Right, and I think that's one of the. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I obviously love all sports, but I think football will be a little biased here. But football, and I love to hear kind of from some of the folks that are on with us on Facebook Live. Football teaches you something different, and that's getting the crap beat out of you every day. Or if you're a superstar like yourself, you don't get hit because you have a different colored jersey on.
Whatever. I never had a different colored jersey.
Here we go. But you have a bad day or a bad throw or a bad play, and then you have to shake that off within seconds because you have another play coming in. Yeah. And you got to call that play. And I mean, you go from getting a sack, or in your case, lining up in behind the guard instead of the center, and you got to shake that off, and you're going to throw a touchdown the next play. I mean, how does that work for you?
Well, in my mind, I tried to think the way Coach Holtz would think.
Okay.
I'm on the field. I'm leading the damn team. I'm leading our offense team. I'm calling the plays. I got to make sure I put my team in the right situation. So I'm trying to think like him. What would he do in that situation? That's why he had to practice. You have practice because you know what? He's going to tell you the game plan. If a certain play does not work to that certain defense, you're going to audible. So we have a checklist.
Right.
So that's what I try to do. And I think he worked so hard with me, him and Coach Credelli, for a long time because I'm the new kid on the block. I have a very short time to get all the information I need in order for us to win on offense. They say defense wins the games for you. If the offense doesn't turn the ball over, the defense wins. The special team comes to play as well. That's the way it's supposed to work out. Offense always at the end. You already know.
I'm glad you understand that. I'm glad you understand that.
And I still use that every day, even though offense scores points, defense can take away the ball and also make sure that my main objective is don't turn the ball over.
Sure.
But things happen. No one's perfect. The last perfect person on earth, what happened to him? They crucified him.
Right.
So, I had to go back and think about shake it off. Like you mentioned earlier, shake it off. Come back to the next play because that play is over and done with now. You have nothing to worry about. You can't go back and change that play. Go to the next play. Some people just get in that little drought, but, the world is coming to an end because that last play don't work. You always get a second, and third, or fourth chance. It's a chess game. Make things happen. Some people can't get along with it, or some people can't get it in their head and cope with it. For me, I've been through the damn best, the best coach ever that drilled me like, starting off, what's my name? He had me believing I'm Ricky Fulton.
Right.
If you look at that, if I can sustain and take his beating, I can take anything in this world.
Right. So recently, I think last week, they replayed the 1988 National Championship game on NBC Sportsnet, and you were able to kind of give your commentary a little bit before, during halftime and stuff like that. And that was the first time I had a chance to see the game throughout its entirety. And I was just kind of curious, like, what was one of your favorite plays during that game?
One of the things, it was like,
or maybe not favorite, just kind of a memorable kind of series or memorable play or something like that. When
I watched the game, I've seen bits and pieces of the game, but what I can recall, and it really shocked me, it's not me scoring a touchdown. It's not me throwing a touchdown. It's at the end of the game when I see Ricky Waters, see Rocket Ismail, and we all on the screen together. It was no one really pinned out. Everyone was together. And we're all happy about the game because at the end of the game, that means all of us wins. It's great for all of us, and I love it.
Right.
And I like how everyone came together at that point. And another thing, too, is my mom's birthday that day. So
I didn't know that. Wow.
January 2nd. It was her birthday, and, I mentioned it a couple times on there on TV. It's just like, yes. But one of the things that I can say for a team effort and a team thing that really made me happy was seeing not just one person, not just me, but everyone come together at that time when the seconds are counting off the clock, and that the game is over. They have no chance as winning, and we won a national championship. The plays are great. Throwing touchdown, and they're playing man to man the whole entire time.
Right.
So I couldn't believe, and it's like, okay, it's Major Harris against Tony Rice. Okay, everything based on Major Harris. Tony Rice is just like, hey, I'm just going to not turn the ball over. And one of the passes I threw, I turned the ball over. The guy intercepted the ball. But our defense came back to hold them, and that was one thing that they compliment us on as a total unit. Offense may mess up, but the defense is here for the rescue.
Yeah.
Our defense played the best that game because it seemed like you guys didn't want to get off the field. Like the Juan Francisco having those penalties at the end. And they didn't say who did it, but it was the Juan Francisco.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah. Which is a great guy. I love DJ.
That's hilarious. So during that season, there were so many great games, right? And people, often ask me, I'm sure they've asked you too, like, what was your favorite game during that year? And, it's so hard to say that, hey, like, at least for me, the national championship game was a great game. We finally knew that we had it. But, for me, it was the Miami game.
The Miami game was one of them.
Right.
But forget now, Michigan game.
I know.
The Michigan game was one of the best games ever in their backyard.
Right.
Well, it was in our backyard because it was.
No, it was our game because it was the first game they had lights.
So it was at home for us.
Right. And we the defense sucked. I mean, we had a terrible
offense sucked. But who won the game? Reggie Ho won the game for us.
I know he kicked like 30 field goals. It was great.
Yeah. That was one of the best games right there. Another game too. People don't realize. I was going out to the Coliseum.
Oh.
We're going out to the Coliseum. We don't have Ricky Waters, we don't have Tony Brooks. Mark Green came to the forefront and made things happen. Everyone was waiting to play that day. And the reason why, because we were so stacked up in the offense side of it, offensive backfield, we had one of the best backfield in the nation.
Right.
So if someone goes down or two people go down, you got the third person in there, and that person is almost better than the other two.
Yeah, I'm gonna comment about that. First, I'm gonna ask some folks to if they have some questions for us, please shoot some over. I'm not gonna be able to answer all of them, but I want to kind of get Tony's take on. And a lot of people, again, this is the same year we won a national championship when we had the Miami game, and Tony brought up a great point against USC. And can you kind of share with us when you found out that Ricky and Tony were sent home and kind of what your emotion was? Because, and I'm a sophomore and I'm terrified. I'm like, oh my God, Ricky's a sophomore. I'm like, what's going to happen? And then literally when we left that meeting room, I got the chills. Look at it, man. I got the chills talking about it right now, man. Like we were ready to play. And I'm sorry, so go ahead.
So anyways, the whole forefront of it is what happened, could be anyone's fault. People get lost, whatever, and then late for a meeting. So Coach Holtz ended up, having a meeting, and he says, hey, these guys are late. I want to see the captains and so-and-so people. And I was like the only junior there. And, what you want me to do? You know what? I'm not the leader of the team as far as, I'm not a captain, but what you want me to say? So he was talking with some of the guys, and the guys elected, and they said that these guys should be sent home. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, it's like, oh, shit.
Exactly.
We are two of the main guys are going to be sent home. But again, we never knew what kind of game that Mark Green was going to have that day.
Right.
And Mark Green had one of the best games ever. And you look at everyone else, because I'm thinking in my mind that, okay, did we make the right decision or the wrong? But then it's a decision that has been made and you got to live by it. You got number one versus number two. And we're in their backyard.
Exactly.
So what are you going to do?
So like, what was I don't remember the first offensive series, but, your two powerful weapons were just sent home. You're the leader of the offense. Those guys are both on offense. Were you at any point when you hit that field, were you kind of like, I know we're going to win? Or was it just kind of like, hey, we're going to do this?
It's like this, Chris. And I now you got me thinking about it, make me have goosebumps. Because you can't go back. I can't go back and listen, maybe that's the wrong decision. We have to work with what we have.
Right.
And what we had is another great running back. So when that came out, and when we step across the line, we warming up, and I'm thinking about my position. I'm thinking about all I need to do in order to check down from the line to make sure that I know my position. Don't worry about who's behind me and all. They would take care of themselves.
Right.
So when that first play came on, and I was talking with Coach Holtz on the sideline, and we're backed up. As you know, Keith Jackson is the announcer. Oh, Nelly. And was at about the 2-yard line. And no one was ever expected me to pass on the first down. So I carried out the fake as far as to Mark Green, like he had the ball, and I slowly walked back. Now I had another 2 or 3 more feet to go before I go down, even though Keith Jackson said I went out of bounds.
Right.
The only thing in my head that I was thinking, Coach Holtz told me, don't underthrow Rocket. Throw as far as you can. The ball was probably about 65 yards in the air, and Rocket still outran the ball.
Wow.
Rocket had to come back and catch the ball, but you know what? Rocket took us out of hostile territory because, you know, what could happen then? And then later on, I'm running a play down the sideline against Mark Carrier. That's how you spark something back. They never expect me to pass. They were so keyed on their defensive line and defensive back that they're going to stop us our running game, but they couldn't stop us. No matter who was in the game at that time. If you think about it too, Mark Green was in the game. If Ricky Waters or Tony Brooks were able to play, it still would have happened the same way.
Right.
So our offensive backfield was one of the best in the nation. We was on Sporting News, outstanding backfield. And they put me on there as being not a quarterback, a running back. I can't pass the ball too. Come on.
Well, I mean, I remember just being in that situation and just thinking like, what just happened? And then just kind of shocked that, you know, he sent them home. And I think that was one of the big lessons that, of course, you know, I learned. I mean, I still look at to this day that when you're part of a team, when you're part of something, you're part of a family, and somebody goes awry or they don't listen to direction, you know, you have to move on, but everybody's treated equally.
True. Hey, you just brought up something. Everyone treated equally. We're 18, 19, 20-year-old snot-nosed kids.
Right.
And you think you're not replaceable.
Exactly.
But you are. And that's one of the things that I think about in my head. You know, everyone's going to be replaced.
Right. And it's from that situation because, you know, I mean, I remember Andre standing up and saying, you know, hey, this isn't going to work out. We're going to lose. And, you know, I think it was Frank Stamms. I forgot who it was.
Frank Stamms and Wes Pritchard, one of those
right.
two.
It was one of those guys. And, you know, they kind of said some words, but, you know, they're like, you know, if you don't think if you don't think we're going to win, leave. And, you know, everybody stood there. And after that team meeting, like I said, I mean, that's when I knew we were going to be unstoppable. But going into it, I didn't. Well, when they made the announcement, you know, I was like, you know, hey, you know, we're undefeated, and you just sent them home. We're about to lose this game.
You've been a doubter, right? You've been a doubter.
Hey, but then after the meeting, we're unstoppable.
You know what, Chris? I like when you said that. After the meeting, unstoppable, because it happened there. It stays there. So then we go to the next level. Can I blow my nose? I got to blow my nose.
Yes, we can take a little intermission here.
Yes, please. I got to blow
his nose. But thank you for asking. I appreciate it. I'm going to look at some questions here while I stall while Tony's blowing his nose. So y'all can shoot me some questions. Here, okay, so I'll kind of do some filler. Somebody asked, wait, hold on. Man. Okay, you guys have great comments, but I'm looking for like a question. Can somebody shoot me a question?
Okay.
Thanks, thanks for, I didn't stall enough. I couldn't get a question in, but thank you for not snotting on this interview. I appreciate that. So let's fast forward a couple of years. So now the questions are coming in after you come back, but they'll just have to wait for a minute. So what did it feel like leaving Notre Dame after all you accomplished?
The fairy tale is over.
Okay.
I don't know why that's popped up in my head. Like, okay, listen, college you're going to enjoy for the rest of your life. Once you go out of college, that's when you go into the real world. You kind of slack in college, but now, listen, you gotta put your big boy pants on and make things happen because mom and dad, whoever's not going to take care of you anymore,
Right.
you're not playing sports. So you don't know if you're going to make it to that next level or not. But you better be prepared, which Notre Dame prepared all of us, I thought, the best way they could because of the network that we have to make things happen. If wherever you want to accomplish whatever sport, you don't go to that next level, what are you going to fall back on?
Right.
And I thought Notre Dame did a great job by, in my eyes, by doing that because I ran across so many great people that have helped me along the way. And why not give it back to the university and give it back to some of the young people that are graduating right now from Notre Dame?
Right. So this is a hard interview because I'm trying to cram 30 years of knowing each other into like an hour. So this is pretty tough. So I know I'm kind of fast forwarding the college experience for you, but what do you think throughout all the stuff? Coach Holtz only had you different name, all his antics. I mean, what is the one thing, and maybe it's not one. What do you remember most from, let's say, like a leadership, a non-football message that he gave you? Or it could be like a message that was football that you're using kind of in everyday life. But when you talk about leadership, right? So here's this guy who's maybe 95 pounds soaking wet, yet he's able to get 300-pound men to fight for him and, do some amazing things. So what do you think that is about him? And did he teach you anything that you're able to still I know you kind of talked a little bit about it before, but go into a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things you never want to do is let your coach down.
Right.
And when I went through my divorce, it was more of, I have to approach Coach Holtz someday. And I felt like I let him down. He told me, never give up. So by me saying that, I went into his office and I had a conversation. I was like, hey, Coach, I let you down. I said, I'm going through a divorce. And he says, Tony, the last perfect person on this earth, what happened to him? I said, they crucified him. He's like, you're not perfect then. You're going to live your life. Be the best person you can. We're not here to judge you on it.
Sure.
And it really helped me along the way because I thought, again, when you leave and go to that next level, you always generate back to Notre Dame. You always go back and talk. And for him to tell me that means he didn't give up on me. Because again, I thought I let him down because when he said, you start something, like my grandmother said, you start something, you finish.
Right.
But nothing ever lasts forever. So I was beating myself up. And when he said that to me, there was a lot of stuff lifted off of me.
Sure.
And it goes back to, it started at one place. It will end in another place. What that place is going to end at, you don't know. But when times start getting hard, and as far as you still pretending like you're a little kid and you let your coach down and you're a grown man, it makes you feel at ease with yourself because he said the right thing.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I will never forget because I beat myself up for years. For him to tell me that and for me to approach him to tell him what I'm going through, And he tells me that. It's like, thank you. I'm glad no one's criticizing me.
So that was really deep, and I kind of hate to make this transition because I want to kind of get a little bit light. But when was the last time you bowled?
Oh my God. I think the last time I bowled here was like 2 frames in Miami. And they had to
Is that where you're at now?
Okay, I live in Miami.
I'm just, hey man, I just, just letting folks know.
Okay, hey people, I live in Miami right now. I moved away from Chicago in July, so I'm in Miami. But I had a chance to bowl, but it was not the same bowling before because I didn't have my own bowling balls. So I had to use a house ball, and the ball was too little. My hands are so big. And it was pretty fun, but it's not me. It's just more of, I need my own bowling balls. I need to bowl, stay there for like 3 or 4 hours so I can just get it out. And that's one of the things that I kind of miss, and I love it when you had to resort to something else that doesn't even do with football or bowl. You can be 2 years old or 84 years old and still be able to bowl.
So here's a little background on bowling with Tony, right? So when he was working in the South Bend area, I came back and I had a chance to work there as well in the area. And, we hooked up and we're kind of hanging out and everything. He said, hey, you want to go bowling? I'm like, excuse me, what? I want to do what? He's like, yeah, I'm part of the league, blah, blah, blah. And, went to his house, he showed me the bowling balls and everything. And I just thought it was the most ludicrous thing ever. And then, and I forgot what game it was. We were at a tailgate, and like all your bowling buddies came by, and, like they were part of the team. I mean, it was like I was kind of jealous. Like, wait a minute, that's my quarterback. I mean, it was great seeing you in that environment with those guys.
Oh, I tell you what, it came a long way. If you look at it, they embraced me to come into their world.
Okay,
It's something totally different. My mom was a bowler, and she bowled a couple 300s, and I was that little kid that broke all her trophies. So, here I am bowling with those guys, and it made me feel like, listen, I'm no higher or better than anyone else. Because when you think about bowlers, you think about, they look good on TV, the PBA challenge, whatever. But you know what? Those are hard blue-collar workers. And here I am. I was working for the university at the time, and then I'm doing other things too. But I came into their world as far as,
right.
And, hey, can I come in? Can I have a seat? And they make me feel at home. And you sit there and learn from people. I sit there and just watch people bowl because every bowler is different than anyone else. So I'm trying to form my own technique at doing that. That's why I was trying to, saying that the PBA, the Professional Bowlers Association, is coming back. And it is, because at this time right now, you can always, and one of the things that they opened up since this pandemic, bowling alley. I was like, wow. So bowling is coming back.
All right, so I had to get the bowling thing in because I thought it was the craziest thing. And like I said, I got jealous at the tailgate. So we have a question from Jason Wood. So what was the most difficult game during the '88 season, during the national championship run?
'88 game. I would say Michigan State was.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, why?
They're known for their tough hitting defense. Percy Snow.
Yeah.
Is right there, linebacker. Those guys actually picked me up. 3 people picked me up. Percy took the ball and they slammed me on my head. That was the hardest hitting defense I've ever came across. And by saying that, they had Tony Mandrich too.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like, oh man, they got this whole Lorenzo White. They had all the stopping on it, but then we still ended up winning the game. And that was the first. Well, the third year was in like in that game at Notre Dame and everything. Because the second year, my sophomore year, they put me in for like a couple seconds. And then they took me out. I threw my first pass to Pat Terrell, and he dropped it. Second pass.
Of course he did. Of
Second
course
pass
he
I
did.
threw was to Pat Terrell, and he caught it. So I can say that part.
Nice.
But I don't know. If you look upon it, you know, Chris, we always, and it's good that we have this camaraderie together. I tell you, without you and Tim Ryan and Pat Terrell, you know, what would I be now? Because you got me into riding motorcycles. You got me.
Well, that's a great segue because that was my next question. So, I like your nice shirt. You know, tell us how.
It's just one of those things that what brings you back down to earth. To bring you back down, even though I'm living in Miami, you guys are in Chicago where it's cold and stuff like that. Miami's hot. I love it. But I think about you guys all the time. And I think about the camaraderie that we still have, no matter what, that I'm here or there. It's just one of those things you never forget. And, you know, my kids may send me to a nursing home when I get old, but I'm still remembering my motorcycle guys. And here we are.
So this is my first attempt to do this. So I'm gonna try and give folks a little preview of the fighting. The riding.
Riding Irish.
Right. I'm trying to get up there, man. All right. So bear with me here because I'm trying to. Okay, let me see. Here we go. So this is kind of what we enjoy doing together. Can you see that, Tony?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. Uh-oh, something happened. Man.
Hit play.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, sir. That is so cool, man.
I love it. Are they gonna see the whole thing? Or we talking?
No. I just want to show. You know, you out there, and that nasty white bike. But that's a whole different story.
Wow. Hey, you know what? I just realized that we all, except Tim Ryan, you have 3 road glide specials.
Hey, man. I'm just saying. So kind of like walk us through because that was awesome. Okay, but I mean we have to give props to Pat for getting us on the campus. Remember,
Sure.
I mean, it was a game day weekend, and
No bikes has ever been allowed on campus.
exactly.
And Pat got us through there. The big thing about it, you know what? We didn't believe in Pat, but he made it happen.
He did.
He didn't let us down.
Prime location. I mean, the way the bikes were laid out, like that'll never happen again, man.
Oh no, it'll never happen again. I'll tell you what. You know what? It will happen again because they've seen it on television right now, and I know when I get back there, I'll probably have to ride one of your bikes. It'll be a long ride from Miami to up there, so I'll probably have to ride one of your bikes. But you know what? I'm willing to do that, and I would like to do that again because that day was, I think, one of the best days as our riding career. We went to Sturgis, but that day right there, all of us riding together to South Bend on our bikes in order to shoot that was great.
So, and this is something that is just, it's really hard to explain, you know, and I tried to say it in that piece, and for y'all, for the folks who have not seen that, you can just go, and this is a shameless plug, you can go to my YouTube channel, and I have it on there. And toward the end of the segment, as I'm talking, and Tom Rinaldi is just the best interviewer ever. And I'm sure just this easy question he was going to ask us, and I start breaking down and crying. And Tim Ryan, with his dry ass humor, I can't say what he said because hopefully some kids are watching, but I mean, he said, what is this effing book club? What is this effing book club? And we lost it. It was hilarious. But that's how we interact, right? That's how it works, right? I mean, we all hate Pat's bike because it's so ostentatious and everything else, but we all kind of have that role, and it was absolutely hilarious. But what I meant in that segment was, I mean, this is something, I mean, I had no idea 30 years later, I'm gonna be going down to Sturgis, driving 2 days with you, Pat and Tim. I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know, I knew I was gonna have some great relationships. I mean, I got Tim Ryan, who's my best friend, but other than that, I didn't know what the relationship was going to be later. And for me to say that, and that's why it's, it sucks when I'm looking at our time and, I'm trying to cram 30 years of us knowing each other, in 1 hour. And it's tough because, I mean, it's all the unspoken words, it's the time that we're together that there's no camera, right? There's, it's not at a game. It's, we come from a great ride in the Black Hills, and our buddy Rick DeLeon is a chef. He's with us. So we come in and, he cooks dinner and we eat, we sit there and we hang out. I mean, and there's no camera. I mean, those are like some of the best memories that I'll ever have. And
I agree with you, Chris.
You just makes it better.
I agree with you on that because most people don't have the opportunity to do the things we do. Some people are dead and gone now. And
we're so lucky, man. We're so lucky.
We are so fortunate and we're lucky that we're able to do those things, but we don't take it for granted. Right. Because we look at it, we just like, listen, let's do this. Okay, yay or nay, we'll do it. And then at the end of it, it's like, so how was that? Well, it could be, really bad, whatever. But speak our mind because, again, we are allowed to say that to each other because we have a camaraderie. We've known each other for so many years. There's no walking on eggshells in our conversations. Right. We go ahead and talk the way we want to talk, when we want to talk it. And I tell you what, and no one else is going to intervene.
And I think that's great because, we ride, we have a lot of buddies. We got Ivan, we talked about Rick, there's Brad. We have a lot of people that we ride with, but, no offense to those guys, because those guys are great buddies. But, I mean, we share that bond that, we got the hell beat out of us in practice. Lou yelled at all of us. I mean, we share so much. And that's why when the four of us are riding, when the Riding Irish are riding, I mean, I feel unstoppable. I feel like I felt when we were playing USC, right? When we walked out of that team meeting, I feel like we're invincible. Now, 50-year-old old farts on motorcycles now.
And no one can stop us. This is like this.
Right.
I'm not worried about Tony because he knows his position. I'm not worried about Pat. I'm not worried about Tim. It's more about us together. You feel me. You feel everything that said, listen, I don't have to worry about him. He knows his role. Like, for instance, we have our role in riding motorcycles.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. I know I'm not going to talk about food because I can't cook. Rick DeLeon, he's the cook.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Pat, I don't know about Pat. But I know me. I'm just sitting there. I'm entertainment. But everyone, we have mechanics that take care of everything else. We know our role. I don't try to step outside my role. But when you brought up something about when we're together, that's so many years that have gone by that shit, we were snot-nosed kids and we're still together. And I brought that up earlier because some people don't have the opportunity to do the things we're doing.
No.
And we still laugh about it.
Dude, we're so, I run into friends who played other schools, and I'm not saying that Notre Dame is so special that it only happens there. I mean, they do things with their team, which is great. But for all of us to get into riding, and the fact that we all do it together, we've done tens of thousands of miles all together. And, when it's raining, I mean, we're under viaduct, talking.
Communication goes. But don't forget, when I got my first bike, who came to greet me?
Well, it took you like 30 years to get there.
But you did it.
But
and I was afraid to ride. I was afraid to ride the bike in front of you. I didn't want to let you down. I did not want to let you down by riding a bike. It was my first time. I may stumble. He may see I hit a pebble. He may see that. I don't want to, make him feel like he can't ride with me. That was going to my mind because I'm trying to impress you.
No, you don't have to do that. I mean, my brother, man, you don't have to do that. I would just help you up with the bike. After Phil, I would just help you up with it.
After my scars and everything else.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's too funny. I love it.
So the idea that, and for those of folks that may be listening who, let's say, like we talk about bowling, right? So you're in a bowling league. I mean, any group that folks are a part of, you're different from the norm, okay? And I felt that when I was on our team, okay? I have all these brothers. I'm the only child, all these brothers. And I feel the same way when I'm riding with my guys and you guys, right? And so, I mean, I talked about that in the ESPN clip. I mean, yes, I turned 50, but I still feel like I'm 18 because I'm rolling with the guys that I rolled with when I was in college. And we're on freaking motorcycles. I mean, that is like the coolest feeling because, and we're fortunate to have success, and it just, that kind of put a bow on it. But the fact that we had success together, we've lost guys, the ups and downs of life, you got divorced, I got divorced. I mean, life happens, but, you fast forward, 20, 25 years, and we have this bond, and it happens to be riding motorcycles. Now, no one's saying we've tore the motorcycles down and built them. We're just riding. I mean, I couldn't do that,
I would love to. I would love to do stuff like that.
But I tell you what, if I did that, I would love to do it with you guys.
Right, but that's the part, right? And the part that I cherish the most is when we get caught somewhere, either in Michigan or Wisconsin, it's pouring rain, and we have to pull under viaduct. We're under a viaduct for like 2 or 3 hours, just talking shit. Why? Because and we had that, and we're not talking about how many touchdowns Tony scored. We're talking about the fact that Rick's meal was delicious, or Tim Ryan had some dry humor about something. Pat wanted to show his bling on his bike, or the fact that he has chaps that had fringe on the side. I mean, we're not talking about that stuff.
Hey, Chris.
We are talking about that stuff. We're not talking about the fact that Pat batted down a pass. I mean, and I think that for the listeners out there, I'm trying to convey like this family atmosphere, right? So with no brothers and sisters, you guys are my family. And, yes, we had some success, but that success has nothing to do with the fact that I love you, I love Pat and I love Tim. And these are the guys that, showered with, cried with, got my ass kicked with, all this other stuff. And yet, we still have that bond. And that's what I think is so special. And we're so fortunate.
You said something that it just dawned on me. I'm thinking about Ricky. Ricky ended up giving us recipes in order to cook on Zoom for a Thursday and everything. And I wasn't really into the cooking stuff. So this group that we have, it really got me into doing things that people thought I never would do. I got measuring cups. I
That's
got all
true.
the stuff right
That's
there.
true. I'm raising my hand. Yes, I never thought you'd actually cook a meal.
Yeah, but here I am because it's a camaraderie that we have. I tell you what, listen, I'm by myself here in Miami, cooking, whatever. It's like, okay, this is like a hard recipe to cook. The chicken parm. And I'm sitting there thinking about it, it's like, I can't do it. But then I say, you know what? I think the guys believe in me that I can do it. So it was an inspiration for me for me to cook that chicken parm and then to even take pictures and show it because that's outside of my norm. I wouldn't do anything like that. Motorcycles, I have no problem. Football, no problem.
Right.
Kitchen, Houston, we have a problem.
Hey man,
Right.
we were
It didn't work.
impressed.
Yeah, you know what? But because I didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to let Ricky down. I didn't want to let Pat down. I didn't want to let Ivan down. I didn't want to let TR, all those people. Because I tell you what, we all have a duty in order to do.
Right.
Make it happen. Don't care how you do it. Just make it happen, and we did. So, thank you for setting up everything. I tell you what.
Just kind of a little background. We since we're all trying to stay safe and we're all kind of on quarantine. We have a weekly Zoom dinner basically with the guys we ride with, and it's the four of us, the Riding Irish guys. Me, Tony, Pat, and Tim. But then we also have Ivan and Ricky. And Ricky's our resident chef, and he's been just amazing. So we kind of came up with the idea that he would give us a recipe and we would all cook it. Now, Ivan's a really good cook. Pat, Tim could cook. I obviously am not starving because, I'm kind of big. But Tony, I remember when he was in Chicago, man, we'd go in his fridge and there's I think some pickles and I want to say maybe some ketchup or something like that. I think you may have had some salt on the counter or something like that. I mean, we kind of did an impromptu, I don't know if you remember this, but we did a little impromptu get together at your place. And, it was going to be about maybe 7 to 8 people. And, we're like, well, what should we bring? You're like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't bring anything. Within 5 minutes, we had to go down to the store downstairs because, Tony didn't have anything in his place, right? So the fact that he made the chicken parm and he had a salad man, we were blown away. So, there's some positive things that are coming out.
I'm learning. I learned for you guys, man. Don't forget now. You guys are pointing me in the right direction. I tell you what, step by step, I'm saying, okay, do this for 20 minutes and do this. It's good because I'm used to following orders. Being a quarterback, you follow orders. You give me a certain game plan, I'm going to work it. I'm going to try my best. But this has been one of the best times ever. And I tell you what, Chris, with what you said earlier about the whole regime of what's going on as far as working together as a team and memories that will never be forgotten, no matter what we go through. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be your first one tonight.
Hey, man, absolutely, man.
On a Friday night. I got nowhere else to go. What the hell?
I do thank you, man. And I know, and see, this is the challenge, right? It was how do you cram 30 years, in an hour? So I'm gonna put you on a spot and say, can we maybe do like an interview part 2? Because there's so much stuff we didn't cover, and we got a ton of questions and stuff. But
okay, Chris, I'll be happy to.
I wanted to bring a different side of who Tony Rice is, right? So everybody knows, and you've been crazy successful, right? But folks don't know, I'm sorry, a lot of people don't know like the real Tony Rice. And I try to give or ask some questions that kind of allowed people to see a little different side from you. And I think we accomplished some of that. But in the same vein, I just want to get this straight. I'm going to talk. This is a guy that would not talk to me my freshman year. So, like boys, besties, best friends, like 30 years later, this is craziness. And I'm going to see if I can get Pat on and talk to him too. He didn't even talk to me either. So the fact I am trying to be nice now and talk to you guys, it's a big step for me because y'all didn't even give me the time of day when I was a freshman.
Hey, I'll be happy to do anything you want me to do. You know that. You're my brother.
Sir, you are the best. You have any parting words, or is there anything that I didn't cover? Or
I just like to thank the people who are listening in and giving us the opportunity just to, start something that this is new. This is, we all have hiccups and bumps and everything along the way, but in time we'll make things happen for people that were they wanted to ask questions, but they're not able to get their questions answered because of the time limit. We'll be back at you pretty soon. So, Chris,
you heard
good job.
You heard it here first. He said he's going to come back. Tony Rice is going to come back. In a couple seconds, please share with the folks that what are you doing now that you're in Miami now? We're all jealous. All the guys are jealous that you're in Miami. Although you are sheltering in place, you're still in Miami and you can go out on your deck and it's like 90 degrees. So
yeah, 90 degrees. See Rice, my motorcycle, Rice.
I just noticed that. Look at you.
Yeah.
You have stuff on your wall. Oh my God.
I know.
Please tell folks what you're doing in Miami now.
Well, I work for Aon, which is an insurance consulting firm, right here in Edgewater, Brickell area, Miami area. Just enjoying life and just enjoying a good company that I have the resources in order to get what I want to get as far as business-wise. And I still use my Notre Dame contacts in order to help out another any fellow Notre Dame guys that keep it in the family. I'm just enjoying life, and this is one of the places that no one ever thought I'd live in, but I'm down here now, and I'm enjoying every bit. I can't wait for you guys, as far as Chris, Pat, Tim, which Pat has been down here, and Ivan. We got Ricky. You got, all the guys that belong to that little group to come down here to visit, to ride, because you can ride all year long.
We're so jealous. So jealous.
I know.
All right, so the last thing.
Raul and Lalo.
All these things.
Come back down.
Last thing. Can you share with us a little bit? Unfortunately, you were late to one of our Zoom dinners. Because you were helping some folks out. Can you kind of tell a little bit, just give us a little snippet about that? You were being so generous in this time that everybody has to be a little careful.
Yeah, well, it's not really, but I would love to, but it's more like Jefferson Tap is doing these bingo nights and everything on Thursday nights. And it's a great cause. It's one of the bars I used to go to when I was living in Chicago, and I would support that bar in order to accomplish what they want to accomplish as far as raising money to help other people out. So I'm going to send Chris information about how it goes, when they're going to go. I'll be there next Thursday. But then also I do some for work as well, as far as anytime any benefactor from Notre Dame gives me a call, I try to help out the most I can because, again, Notre Dame point me in the right direction by giving me help. So why not lend my hand in order to help out other people as well? So that is what I've been doing. And tell you what, Notre Dame, I bleed blue and gold. And I look at it as more like, okay, it pours out of me because I talk about Notre Dame so much and been down to Miami. They're kind of mad at me because I'm like the Hurricanes. The Hurricane. We're the Fighting Irish. We do this right here the whole entire time. That's how
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome, man.
I went to the campus and everything, and I just had to give my thumbs down. I took a picture and I sent it to thumbs down. So that's the way I feel about it. But I'm happy to be, doing pretty well down here, and I got my family up in the Midwest that are always going to look after me. So you make me feel like, make me feel good about myself. And I want to thank you, Chris,
for inviting me again to do this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. You are our quarterback for life. So I do appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry we were only able to get in one question, but trying to cram in 30 years of existence in an hour is pretty tough. But you heard it from himself. He said that he will be back. So hopefully when I do ask him, he does come back. So if you want to check out that awesome Riding Irish video, please go to my YouTube channel. I think it's just Chris Zorich. I'm not sure yet. I haven't perfected that yet. But look up my name and you can find it somewhere there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We had a great time. Tony, once again, you have just helped me out big time. And
Love you, Chris. Love you. Thought me
all right,
hard.
brother. Love you too, man. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to hang up here.
I hope so, because I'm trying to. I don't know how to do it.
Hey,
All right. Here you go, man.
good job, bro.